What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Revived, episode number 30. I am your host, as always, and joining me is the lovely Jessi Craig.
Hello.
So, guys, it's been a minute since we've done a podcast. It's actually been since January the 23rd since we published a podcast, and we're probably going to move to a once-a-month kind of format. I talked about this in a video that I did last Saturday, where I'm gonna basically do a Shane's inbox thing. I'm gonna look at your guys' comments and answer them. I'm gonna be doing that instead of this podcast 3 times a month, and then maybe 1 podcast a month instead. A lot of it just is twofold. One, there's just not a ton of stuff going on to warrant a podcast every week that I'm not also covering. And then 2, Jessi's schedule is just difficult to contend with sometimes. So it's just easier. If we let things build up, I'll have more to talk about with Jessi in particular. So these shows should flow better. The quality should improve having gone to this schedule. So hopefully that's not too big of a bummer for you guys. Still will be getting content out. You'll just be seeing a little bit less of Jessi, unfortunately. Maybe that'll change down the line. Maybe that'll change down the line as things change through time. So I guess let's start off this podcast with the thing that I think most of you guys would be guys and gals. I always say guys, and as soon as I say it, I'm like, well, some of them are not guys though, you know? But I don't mean it like men.
It's fine.
Guys and gals, people, you people. But if you say you people, then it's like, what do you mean you people? So there's just no way to win, you know? All of you, again, no, you people, that doesn't work.
Humans,
listeners, well, maybe some of them are aliens. I don't know.
No, they're not. They're humans. They're all humans. Aliens are not real.
This is the subject. I'm not going to step out on that limb, all right? Because I don't know that. Maybe they're not real.
They might be.
I currently lack a belief in aliens, but maybe, look, I'm open-minded, okay? My mind can be changed. Let me know, guys and gals in the comments, and aliens, are you real? If you're an alien, let me know if you're an alien.
Humans and non-humans.
So the first topic that I think it's important that we talk about is the January update that has just hit the Surface Duo. It hit it I guess it's been about 2 weeks ago now, or a week and a half. And from my perspective, I have seen another step in the right direction. The Surface Duo it's kind of been like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And sometimes it's like 2 steps forwards and 3 steps back. Where it's like, hey, we fixed this thing, and then the launcher's doing all kinds of weird crap, and you're like, well, what is that about, though? Like, why is that happening? And it's been a lot of that, unfortunately. But this last update has been, for me, a step in the right direction. I talked about in my video that, just little things, like when I'm on Twitter and I swipe up to go home. It's more consistent now than it's ever been. And I'm way less likely to accidentally throw to the other screen. Because that happened to me a lot. I'd be trying to go home and I would just be tossing it from screen to screen. I'm like, no, go home. Now, you have to be less deliberate, which is a good thing, because gesture navigation should be easy. It shouldn't be like, oh, you swiped up at a slightly oblique angle. Is oblique the right word? At the slightly wrong angle. And now you did the wrong thing. Oopsie. So that's better. Touch response seems to be better. Performance seems to be fine as it was before for me. So for me, I'm like, it's fine. It's a good little update. It's nothing mind-boggling, I still want features. Like I still want, if I pair my pen to my Surface Duo, for these buttons to do literally anything, because currently they don't do anything, and that's stupid.
Yeah.
So I want features, but it's getting better. Well, for me. So here's what's strange. If I show and you won't be able to see this, Jessi, but if I show this other screen here, which hopefully there's nothing on here, I need to edit out. Looks like we're okay. I asked people, because I was seeing reports of people saying my battery life is worse post-January update. And I was like, well, that's a bummer, because the Surface 2's battery's been really good, actually. So I asked in a video, hey, what have you seen? And you know, here we go, 35 minutes ago, my battery seems worse. This person said by noon, he's down to 50% battery, which is insane. That's horrible. Sander, who's one of our members, which thank you for being a supportive, lovely member. He's saying I can no longer use my Duo a full day. His life is worse. Jake Harvey, another subscriber for a while, his battery says his is worse. But then in the same vein, a few other people, my battery life seems the same. Paul McDonald, my battery life seems the same. There's a lot of like back and forth on this, which is really weird. I've also seen some people saying that they're getting more bugs with the new update. It's just been very, very strange to see how inconsistent it has been for people. For me, it's been pretty good. For some people, it's been pretty good. For other people, apparently, it's been a disaster. And it's like, it's so frustrating. I don't know if there's ever been like a device or a product that you've had like a love-hate relationship with. Maybe your Pixel 3 would be maybe an example, where you're like, I love this phone. I really do. But sometimes, maybe it's like being married to me. You're like, I love my husband, but sometimes he makes it hard. Sometimes he makes it a little hard to love him. That's how I am with. Say that. That's how I am with my Surface Duo. I'm like, I love this thing, but then, and I've got it easier. I mean, I've only had to warranty out one of them. Like,
I think the best thing about that metaphor is that you could probably honestly say, yeah, oh, it'll change though. It'll be better in the future. Things will be different.
Exactly. Look, it's gonna get
when.
or if it probably won't. Who knows? Like, all right, this thing came out September 10th. It is now February. Oh my God. It's now February the 6th. And we missed an update. And the updates that have come so far have been like just bug fixes. Mediocre, not a lot going on. Zach Bowden over at Windows Central wrote a really good article where he basically was like, why can Microsoft not communicate with us? Like when we were missing the December update and it just wasn't happening, they had to reach out to Microsoft and be like, yo, like, where's the update? And they're like, oh yeah, it's not coming. We're not doing one this month. And they were like, oh, that would have been like cool for you to have like told us. And so we have to go to you and ask you. I don't know why they can't do better than this. Like, it's really frustrating because, again, it's such a good device on paper. But it's like, why? What?
I just realized something. I'm not using my Yeti, but that's okay, right?
It's fine. You sound fine.
Okay.
It's like, okay, Samsung. They're rolling out Android 11 to some of their, like, A-series devices. And they have a huge skin to put on their device. We have one phone. There's one phone. Where's Android 11? One phone. How can Samsung do this and Microsoft can't? How can OnePlus do this and Microsoft can? People are like, oh, well, it's got two screens. The Z Fold is a folding device. You're telling me that, I mean, look, this probably honestly has more customization to be done than the Z Fold because you're handling multi-screen all the time. And I get that. But come on. They're the biggest software company ever to exist, and they can't get updates out on time? They can't do better than this?
Are they abandoning it, or are they
That's the thing. That's the thing, is no indication that they're abandoning this. I've spoken on Reddit and Twitter. Does that count as speaking? I've typed words and received words with Daniel Rubino, Zach Bowden, some people that are insiders. And Rubino is steadfast that he's like, no, this is a multi-year effort. Here's what I think is happening. I don't think in any way, shape, or form they're abandoning Duo. I really don't. Here's what I think is happening. Back in this last back a couple episodes ago, I flail. Sorry, I flail my arms around a lot when I talk.
Manic today.
Yeah, so I'm gonna raise my mic up higher so I got more room to flail my arms around. Sorry. Okay, so back to a couple episodes ago, when we talked about the history of the Surface Duo, we talked about, like, the context. We talked about how Surface Duo was going to be a Windows pocket computer. They realized that wasn't going to work for a myriad reasons. The silicon wasn't there. The software wasn't there. Ultimately, if they did it, this thing would be shit. It would not be fun to use. The battery life would suck. It would get hot. It would have to thermally throttle. It would go dead. And Windows would not work well. They realized all of these things and they said, okay, well, look, we really like this form factor. Let's make it Android. So they made it Android, and then they tweaked the form factor a little bit, and then they said, push it out the door. Just let it go. They realized in that moment as well, though, well, we're going to do Android, so the Surface Zeta, the Duo 2, is going to be more properly built from the ground up with this vision, whereas this was not built from the ground up with that being the vision. It was sort of like retrofitted as best they could, but Zeta is like going to be like the truer vision, I guess, of what their latest vision is. I wonder if they're not just really focusing on Zeta and getting things right there. And they're basically saying, like, yeah, Duo was like a proof of concept that we just decided to release to people that wanted it, but we're really not concerned. Like, I really don't think Microsoft gives a shit if anybody bought Surface Duo. I don't think they care at all. Because I think they would have said, Panos Panay, no one bought Surface Duo. He go, well, yeah, but like, it's not really like our vision anymore. Like, that's like close, but Zeta, if Zeta comes out and Zeta fails, then that will be a problem. I don't think that they really care that much about Duo. Now, does that mean that they're going to, when Zeta comes out, abandon Duo and go to Zeta? I hope not. I hope that it continues to receive updates. They say 3 years of updates, and I believe that will happen. How quickly? How much feature parity will there be? Will Zeta get stuff that Duo doesn't? I don't know, but we're going to see Zeta before the year's out. Microsoft did not release Duo and go, oh no, no one wanted this, and then just scrap the whole project. That's not what's happening. I think it's that they're doubling down on what's coming next. Yeah. And again, this is wildly speculative. I have nothing to base this on. Talking out of my ass, potentially. But it's just something to think about, because you look at the fact that it feels like there's still, it's like if you hire a contractor to build your house, and they're like, your move-in date is this, and that date comes and you move in, and you're like, like the floor is not finished in this room. And they're like, or whatever, and they're like, still like, it's like exposed sheetrock and wall, and they're still, it's like you're still trying to like build the house. Like, you haven't even, like, you're moving in thinking like, oh, where will we put this cabinet? And the reality is that the house isn't constructed yet. Like, you're kind of living in like a framework. So it's not ready for features. It's not ready for stuff. It's like still not, it's barely a house. And I think that's where we are. I think that in the same token, the same contractor has began building a much better house down the road, and they're splitting their attention between the two. That's my intuition. Maybe I'm totally wrong. It's definitely possible, but
no, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's probably what's happening. So.
Yep. So that's where we are in terms of the January update. I actually have seen a slight decrease in my battery life as well now, but I don't think it's because of the update, because it happened after like a week went by, and it came literally when I bought this thing, which we'll talk about now. I've been an Android WearOS user since I've been a couple years now. And I had my last one was a Fossil Sport. No, it's not been a couple years. I had the original Moto 360. That was like 47 years ago, I think. Good watch. Wait a minute. Nope. I'm 31. That can't be. Doesn't make sense. The last one was a Fossil Sport. And if I'm being honest here with you, I really wanted WearOS to be really good. And it's not. WearOS just sucks. It's bad. It's a bad operating system. A lot of people around here, because I don't fall in line with a lot of like Microsoft Surface, like, I don't want to say fanboys, but like the guys that are like I really love Windows Phone, and I wish it was running Windows Phone still. I'm not with you there. Like, I think Windows Phone failed for reasons that it would fail again in 2021. If it would fail again. It would fail every time they tried it for the same reasons. I loved WebOS. WebOS would fail again in 2021. So I get your perspective, but like, Android's fine. Android is a solid operating system, and there's a reason it is the most popular operating system on the planet. And no, that's not an appeal to populism, like, well, everyone uses it, so it must be good. Well, that's not what I'm saying.
No.
But I'm saying that there are reasons that it is as popular as it is. It's very customizable, and it is a solid operating system. WearOS is none of those things. It is a bad operating system. It is slow, it is resource heavy, and it's poorly optimized. I bought a Fitbit Sense, which there it is. And it's the Sense. No, sorry, not the Sense. I bought the Versa 3. I was going to buy the Sense, and I didn't. I bought the Versa 3. No real big differences there besides like some additional sensors. And it's shocking how much better this thing is than the WearOS devices I was just using. Like, the biggest thing to me is that this thing, I wore it this was going to be day number 5, and I had 30% battery, and I could have made it through today with 30% battery, no problem, but I just decided to charge it. I hadn't charged it. I could have made it easily, probably 6 days would have been totally doable. Using it regularly to check the time, to use Google Assistant, to track my sleep patterns, my heart rate when I'm exercising over there or doing whatever. 6 days. How, like, what is wrong?
Insane. It's
crazy to me. And it's like, it's got like a, it's got an OLED screen, like you can see there, like the screen looks good. It's responsive. It's not like it's like, oh, it lasts 6 days, but it's really slow. It's faster than my Fossil was. And it's mind-boggling. I know you've got the same Fossil Sport that I have, and you like barely wear it because it just doesn't work well.
Well, I mean, half the time I can't make it through like a work shift, which I don't know what happened, but like I had a lot of issues with my Fossil, and I have not been wearing it because it's just been frustrating. I'll make it, 5 hours into my 10-hour shift, and it's like, oh, it's going into low battery mode.
Yeah, you're
my
like, what?
microphone doesn't work. I constantly have issues like trying to, swipe screens. Like, it doesn't understand my gestures that well, which I am one of those people that I do them very sloppy. So, what you were saying earlier about them needing to give a little bit of leeway with, the angle of your swipe, like, it needs to fucking work. And it's
needs
been
to be
out
easy.
Forever.
Yeah. I think to me, there are two things going from Fitbit to, or sorry, the other way around, from WearOS to Fitbit. The two things that shock me the most is, one, the battery life is just like, I get the Fitbit OS is like really lightweight and so forth. And like, I guess there are downsides to that, but they are definitely worth it, whatever they might be. I can't tell, because what did I use my Fossil for? I used it to tell the time, to skip tracks on, music I was playing sometimes.
And to pay for things.
Use tap to pay. That was it. This thing does all of those things just as well, if not better, than that one did. And it lasts 6 days on a charge. Tracks my heart rate, does everything I wanted to do, tracks my blood oxygen level, lasts 6 days. I don't understand. I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand how this works this well. And what better question is, what is Google doing with WearOS? Because it's trash. It's freaking trash. Even the Samsung watches don't use WearOS, and they're way better than the WearOS devices. Just Google, honestly, like, you may or may not know this, but Google bought Fitbit. That purchase just went through. They need to just scrap WearOS at this point and just be like, Fitbit is our smartwatch division, and they're in charge. Just throw WearOS out because it's trash. Here's the other thing. On the Fossil, you could press the little rolling crown, press it and hold it, and it would vibrate, and it would trigger the Google Assistant. And it would take, for you, infinity, because it would never work. For me, it would take like 10 seconds before it would start listening, and then it was like in and out, and then it would take another 5 seconds to complete the command. It was horrible. With this thing, I can do this. Watch this. You can see if you can see this. There it is. Okay, I'm going to tell you when I'm pressing it. Okay, now. Like it's so fast.
Yeah.
I don't understand, and it happens instantly. Like, watch this. There it is. Turn off the studio lights. Turn on the studio lights. Like, it just works so much better than it's Google Assistant, and Fitbit kicks the living shit out of that. Now, and look, don't get me wrong. There are newer WearOS devices with newer processors and more RAM that work way better than that Fossil Sport did. Okay.
But you're still losing some of the performance versus the Fitbit.
None of them last 6 days.
Yeah.
They just don't. Do some of them last 2 days now? Yep, there are some that last 2 days. And are some of them lasting 2 days and Google Assistant works about that well? Sure. But again, it should be that Google's version of the thing that is theirs, their version of their things, should work really well, you know? It's like, it's theirs. It's like, it's bizarre to me. And I have seen a decrease in battery life because the Fitbit app is just still kind of bad about that. It just drains a bit of battery. Nothing crazy. Like, we're recording this at 117. I'm at 81%. Like, that's not bad. In the past, but I've not really used my phone that much. In the past, in the amount I've used my phone, I could still be up to 90. So, like, I am fine. I am not seeing problems out of this update. Some of you guys talking about being at half battery by now, like, or less than that. That's wild. I'm not getting that. But I'm off the WearOS bandwagon. I'm fully on board with the Fitbit thing, and I'm really curious to see what Google does. I mean, do you think they should just, at this point, just go with Fitbit? I mean, seems like that's the better option.
I wish they would. I really wish that they would.
It'd be really interesting to see what happens in regards to that. So the last thing I want to talk about on this podcast is a game that just came out. I think it literally just came out, like, because today's the 6th. I think it came out 4 days ago. It's a game called Valheim. All right. And this game, I'm going to kind of have the trailer going over the screen here. This game is so much better than I ever could have like, I saw it, like, a friend of ours was like, "Oh, you should check out this game called Valheim." And I was like, I looked at it and I was like, it looks fine, I guess. And I was like, it might be all right. I buy the thing, and within 30 minutes, I'm like, I can't believe how good this game is. It's
right. He had said he said you almost can't tell that it's in early access, and you can't because it works so well. Yeah.
So the shtick of this game is that it's obviously some Norse mythology stuff. You are trying to it's a survival, exploration, crafting survival game, with some boss battles there that you're trying to slowly, defeat these different bosses. It has multiplayer. There's a lot to this game. There is a lot to this game, and I think it looks quite nice. The combat's pretty good, but I think for me, like, the thing that's really hooking me in is more the base building and the crafting, because it just works for me so obscenely well. And some of you may or may not be aware, but we've been streaming on the Scary If Literal Games channel a little bit, and I was streaming it yesterday, so I'm just gonna, like, overlay some gameplay, just me playing it. And it's just like, you ever play a game where you're crafting or you're building and things are just a little unintuitive and you don't quite understand? This game, like, everything you do just it just works. Like if you
Right.
if you think that this is how something's going to be when you do it, it's pretty likely to be exactly that. Like it just is what you think it's going to be.
Yeah, I love any game that has base building. I got really sucked into Fallout 4 mostly for the base building. I had a good time doing that, and I played Green Hell a lot longer than
Mm-hmm.
both you and Jacob stopped playing because of the base building. Because I had all these like, oh, what would it look like if I, built a bridge across the river, or what if I built a hotel, like all these different ideas. And for this, the first, I think we played last night was the first time I played it.
Yeah.
I had my resolution wrong, and I think that may have been getting in the way because I just couldn't get the pieces to connect correctly. So I fixed that today, and I'm having zero issues, and it's just working perfectly. And I'm getting all these ideas and just getting inspired, and I love it. It's something I can just go in. The music is pretty, and it's simple.
It's simple and it's intuitive. Like the
Yeah.
building, I'm shocked at how many developers fail. Like, we've talked about this in a lot of things, but like if your game or your product, your phone, your device isn't intuitive, you have failed. And
Yes.
I feel like that they've done such a good job of just making the game be pretty much just what you expect. It's intuitive.
Hmm.
And like I don't even know like who even is the developer of this game? Like Iron Gate AB? Like who is this even? This is their first game on Steam at least.
Well, it's really good.
Like who are these people? Why is it so good? Like I really don't understand how this game is so good. I'm on their website now. Yeah, Valheim is
Does
it.
it say what engine it is?
Uh, it's a good question. It's a good question. I would Unity would be. Let's see. Let's see if I can find out really quickly. They may not build with the Unity engine. Yeah, it's Unity. I thought so. It
Yep.
just I don't know. It's blowing my mind, and I love that it's co-op. Here's a cool thing. So I can play in my world, and I can be chopping down trees and gathering wood and getting, you build your house, and after so many days, you'll have these, what do they call them, great dwarves, or what do they call them,
Hmm.
graylings, or something. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
Different creatures will come out of the forest and attack you at different times, and some of them are stronger than others. So you're trying to build your house, but as you get a little bit further, then things will start coming after you. So you can be doing that. You build your house, you get some gear, and then your buddy gets online and they're like, hey, I'm still trying to get my house built or whatever. And you're like, okay, I can pop over there with you. So you can grab some of your supplies, log out, go join them, and everything you had on your character and your character stat, it's just you with all your stuff.
Yeah.
You just pop
Yeah.
into their world and you can go help them.
Yeah, I
And
love
you,
that. That's awesome.
and that, like, it's like, I get that it's like, well, you could help someone cheat, kind of. Like, you could, help them out too. Who cares? It's not a competitive game.
It doesn't
Like,
matter.
I'm glad
It's
it's
a
like
different
that.
style of game.
Because now
So,
I can play by myself in my world. Like, now I've beaten the first boss. Neither of you or Jacob have. So I'm a little further along. I'm at like day 11. And I've got some gear and some stats that are pretty good. So I can pop in and then help you out. Maybe we can pop in together, take out, the big elk monster in Jacob's, and then we'll go help you do yours. And like
hmm.
it's just fun that way. Like I genuinely am enjoying this game so much more than I thought I would. The boss battle was genuinely challenging. Fighting Elk Thier, it was a little bit frustrating to summon him because I probably just failed to read something, if I'm being honest, but it was a little unclear what I needed to do. But so far, it's solid. And for you Surface Pro users out there, I put it on my Surface Pro 7. I had to lower some settings, like the resolution, but I was getting like 30 to 40 FPS most of the time, so totally playable on your Surface Pro 7 device. I'm using my Core i5. The i3 might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think it would probably still run on there as well, probably similarly.
Yeah, I've definitely really enjoyed it. I didn't I don't know, I wasn't really getting into it last night just for whatever reason, I just was like, it's okay. I think it was because the resolution was so low. But as soon as I started building my house, I was like, I'm gonna love this because I can do whatever I want with this.
Yeah, and you can, like, you know, like, I built my little cabin, and then the game was like, you should build not in the forest because that's where stuff comes from. I was like, well, I built mine in the forest, so I deconstructed it. Which, by the way, you can deconstruct things in one button click of each thing you've placed. It's like, oh my god, just thank God that's so good. Yeah. You get out your hammer that you craft with, you build with, and you just click a button, and it goes boom, 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 boom. And you pick the wood back up and you go build somewhere else. Like, oh my God, why is that so hard? Why is that not in every game that has base building? I don't know.
Right.
So I picked up and I waddled over to the field because I was carrying all this wood so I could like barely walk. I built a house over there. Then we played with Jacob and we built a better house with Jacob. And I was like, now my house is kind of crappy. So then I got back in my game this morning and I tore my house down again and rebuilt it again. It looks great now. Because that's got, you know, it goes up and then there's a roof and then it goes up and then there's another roof and there's like a second floor up there. And I'm like, got a chimney for my fireplace. And I'm like, this is good. This all looks very good. So yeah, if you're looking for, I think it's like $20. If you're looking for a cheap game to jump into and kind of get lost in, it is one of those games that you will be sitting there in the woods hacking at a tree. And you'll look up and you'll be like, it's been 2 hours and I've been just building a log cabin and killing deer, you know, hunting for food. Here's another thing. You have to eat. There's no like it's simple. So like you're not like, oh, I need health. No, you just eat. You just eat. You can be digesting 3 things at any time, 3 different things. And different things they'll give you different things. So if you eat like cooked meat, that's going to be good. It's better than like eating a berry. But you can only eat the one thing of meat. And as long as you're digesting it, ever so often your health will tick up. So if you're about to go fight a boss, you want to eat 3 good meals and and that'll increase your health. Get your stats all the way up. And then you're good. Then if you take a hit, since you're still digesting that meat, it'll regen. And then it'll start flashing the little icon of what you ate and say you can eat again. And that's it. That's all there is to it. You're not having to manage bandages and like salves and stuff. No, you just eat. And you don't have to worry about drinking. Just eat. So there's a bit of survival in there, but it's not so much that it's like irritating to be like, man, I gotta manage all this other crap on top of trying to actually play the game and enjoy the combat and so forth. I just feel like it gets so much stuff correct.
Right, because it was probably made by somebody who had similar feelings as you that was like, wouldn't it be nice if you could, you know, build a house in a day or destroy a house in a day, you know?
Yeah. There was a moment, which I'll see if I can find it in the where I was streaming, where I unlocked the hoe and I was like, I became able to clear out grass using the hoe. And I just used it and it blew my mind. I just like clicked the ground and the grass was gone. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? I was like, this works so well. Like, this is so easy and it looks so good instantly. Like, you can literally see me in the stream, like, I'm like touching my face and like doing this thing. I'm like leaning back, like, I can't even understand. Because in any other game I've ever played, it's like, they make it too hard. It's like, oh, well, you know, it's going to clear out this big of a spot and you got to do it. It's going to take you 4 hours to clear out this. No, it's just go boop, 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 boop. And you're like, looks good, feel good about it. And you can move on. Just so many little things like that. I'm raving about this game probably more than I should be, but
it's good. It's a great game and it's
really
good to
enjoying
support early access games. So
I wish it was on the Switch. I don't know if there's any plans of it coming to the Switch. That might be it, because it just, I don't know about you, but it just feels like a Switch game. I don't know what that is, but it just feels like a game that should be on the Switch, and I don't know why.
I think what it is you tend to like non-competitive, like passive games in Switch mode. You know, Breath of the Wild, whatever that knockoff game is. Greek mythology.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
wanna
Immortals, Phoenix Rising.
Yes, that one. God, that's a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean this game. I mean it'd be a good one. It's exploratory. It's passive. It's a chill game, and you don't have to be, in front of a gigantic monitor to enjoy it. So.
Right, right. There's so much more that we can do. Like, you can build a boat and go sailing.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
There's just so much. There's so much to it.
Houseboat. Ooh, good idea.
It's an interesting concept. Live out on the sea. It's pretty damn good. So, I guess that kind of brings us to the end of this episode. There's a couple things I want to call out here, though, at the end. So the first thing is that we have gotten Rashid, Al, and Sandra Payne new YouTube members. Thank you so much for that. If you want to become a YouTube member, there's a join button down below, which will accomplish that task. Thank you greatly for that. We have also launched a Patreon, which there is a link in the comments to the Patreon. If you want to support there, we just launched it, and we do have one patron there as well. Let's see if I can find Patreon. I'm still a little shaky on Patreon. Livio Coquia. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Almost certainly not. If I knew where you were from, it might help. I might be able to guess a bit better. But anyways, thank you as well. So those are just two really easy ways to support the channel. You're talking about like a couple dollars a month. Not a lot for each of you, but if a lot of you do it, it would be a lot to us, and it would really help, help allow me to continue doing this full time, which is what I've been doing since July or whatever it's been. So thanks for all of our new members and our new patron for supporting the channel. We also did get a donation directly from the website, which is the most direct way to support us, is to just simply go to scaryifliteral.com, and I think there's literally like support us or something like that up there. That's the simplest way to help support what we are doing. You can just send money straight to us if you're able to do that, or if you want to do that. It's a great thing to do there to help us, and that is from Tim. Thank you so much, Tim, for your donation. Do greatly appreciate that as well. So I guess that's about all I've got. Follow us on Twitter, scaryifliteral. Over here, disagreeable on Twitter. I'm pointing kind of in the general direction of your name up there. What else? Scary Flitteral Games. If you want to watch us stream games and maybe talk about games a little bit more, that's a brand new channel that's got very little on it. But that is there. Anything I'm forgetting?
Nothing that I know of.
I don't have any notes in front of me right now. I just didn't open them. Just left them closed for some reason. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. So thank you for joining me today, Jessi. My name is Shane Craig. This has been Podcast Revived. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.